We all know what this pandemic has done for us adults, or to us adults rather, but how could it also be affecting our kids? Well, Dr. Anthony Chico is the director of emergency psychiatry at GBMC, and he's here to shed some light. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I'm happy to have you here. I think this is really important to talk about. What are some of the main types of mental health concerns that parents are reporting in their children during this pandemic?
Well, not surprisingly, after more than a year of all of us being locked up and more isolated, both in my office and in the emergency department, I am seeing a large amount of children who are struggling with a lot of depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that comes from being isolated from their peers and for the first time struggling in areas that a lot of children haven't struggled, such as their academic performance.
Got it. So if they were experiencing some successes before this and then sort of the loss of that, that can be unnerving as well. What do you advise if you're noticing as a parent some higher levels of anxiety or stress or depression, or even a little bit of anger in your child? What do you advise that we do?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with an open conversation with our child. Sharing with them what you've been observing in terms of possible sleep pattern changes, eating pattern changes, maybe the child's isolating more, and just making sure that you and the child are on the same game page as to what you're seeing and what they're experiencing. It's always better to be working together on this. If at any time, though, this anger, this impulsivity intensifies, and sadly, sometimes I see this in the emergency department, really, it's important that more emergent treatment is sought. And sometimes parents are having to bring their child to the emergency department when there's concerns of safety.
Got it. And then do you have any suggestions for helping kids cope if they seem to have a lot of difficulty in regulating their emotions or even just handling these added stressors?
Yeah, well, I think, as we've seen things improve over time, we have to first make sure our children are aware of that they appreciate that the world is slowly opening up, and that, we have to actually start preparing them for the non-digital life again, getting them back to in-person school, getting them, a lot of counties now are starting to open up their athletics. And I think with that, there's going to be a new type of anxiety of getting used to the old ways of living. So I think we can build some hope around that, but also try to help prepare them for this transition back to in-person life.
It's just really a lot of adjustment. Even going back to in-person life isn't even the in-person life that we knew before, because now it's masks and social distancing. So there's a lot to navigate. And if we need help navigating that, we can always reach out to your practice, correct?
Well, I work out of the emergency department, so certainly we are always there for people in our community. I would suggest to any parent to first start with your primary care physician. They know you and your family well, and depending on the severity of those needs, they can help direct you to higher levels of care if need be.
Okay, all right, Dr. Anthony Chico, thank you so much for being with us. A lot of stuff to just keep in mind as we go through these months. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.